I don't like seeing our First Amendment rights being eroded, and I don't think you do either. Something as minimal as liking and sharing this video goes a long way towards publicizing our fight against the erosion of our rights. I'm Joe Neerman. I am an attorney licensed to practice law in the state of New York, and I control the YouTube and Rumble channels known as Good Lawgic. This week, I filed a lawsuit against Judge Juan Merchan, the judge who's presiding over the New York criminal action against Donald Trump. The gag order that the judge issued in that particular case was unconstitutional. By issuing an unconstitutional order, he restricted Donald Trump's speech and thereby infringed on my rights of freedom of the press. The reason that I bothered to file this lawsuit was far more about protecting our First Amendment rights than it was about any particular individual. Judge Merchan, in justifying his order, claimed to be relying on Supreme Court precedent, but in so doing, greatly expanded what those Supreme Court precedents actually say. Specifically, he referred to Landmark Communications versus Virginia, Shepard v. Maxwell, and Nebraska Association. In those specific cases, the court was discussing protecting someone's constitutional rights and accordingly restricting First Amendment rights. And they discussed a potential balancing test. Now, this balancing test is specifically in scenarios where you have competing constitutional rights. One person has First Amendment rights, another person has a Sixth Amendment right to a fair trial. Those are the only scenarios where the court has recognized that a gag order may be warranted. But there must be an objective of protecting somebody's constitutional rights. That's the only time we can ever consider issuing a gag order and restricting someone's fundamental right to free speech. In this particular scenario with Judge Merchan, there are no constitutional rights that are being protected. Judge Merchan cited states' interest in the fair administration of justice. You can claim a state interest in the fair administration of justice in virtually any scenario. If this order is allowed to stand, it will greatly expand situations where the court is entitled to issue a gag order. We must stand against this. This is far greater than any one person. This is far greater than me. This is about our constitutional rights. The arguments that I presented are not being raised by any other attorneys. And that's why it's so important that you stand with me and voice your support. When I made oral argument early this week, it became evident that my voice alone is unlikely to be successful. The counter arguments that were presented by my adversaries were largely rooted in emotion. Things like Donald Trump is scaring people. That is not a legal argument. That's not a constitutional argument. There is no special law for someone who is scary. I'm urging you to stand with me. Help make public that we are not going to sit idly by while our constitutional rights are slowly eroding away. Even something that seems as trivial as liking and sharing this video goes a long way towards calling greater attention to this so that I may be joined in this fight by other attorneys who will garner greater respect from the First Department of New York's Appellate Division. I thank you for your help. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.